There's a place that people are going to after they take DMT, which is super freaky, hyperreal, and maybe even permanently altering people who go there. Just for the sake of convenience in this video, we're going to call it the DMT operating room. Now, the craziest thing about this place is that we're not talking about a handful of people who have been there. We're talking about maybe thousands of individuals who have gone to the DMT operating room and had the exact same experience. A lot of people report being upgraded after they go there, but some people say it's so hyper-real that they are deeply disturbed by the entire experience. Whew, alrighty. This shit will blow your mind. The stuff we're going to be talking about in this video today is going to blow your mind. And if it doesn't, that's probably because I'm not going to do a good enough job conveying just how insane this experience is, but I'm going to do my best for you. This experience is actually a place that people are going to when they take DMT. Now, I have been to this place many times on psychedelics, and although my most vivid encounters were on DMT, I have also been there on acid. And this is one of the interesting things about this place. People are going there on different psychedelics. Why we're having this operation take place, I don't want to really touch that subject in this video today because I've definitely got my opinions and my theories, but I kind of want to have the freedom to break that down in its own video. But if you've gone through this, or you have an idea of why we're going through it, definitely share it with me, and I might just share your opinion in the next video if it's one that I find interesting. But for this video, all I want to do is actually break down the experience itself. So let me get into it just so you know what the DMT operating room is and what it's all about. So the first thing worth mentioning, anybody who goes there, and every single trip report I read and in my own experiences with the DMT operating room, you wake up on an operating table. That's basically how it always starts. In my experience, the room I was in, at least in the very beginning, it was made out of white light. So the operating table itself and anything around me was made out of white light. And what wasn't white light was just dark, endless black. You'll probably then notice that there are several tall entities standing above you. And very quickly you'll get the sense that they're about to perform some kind of operation. So I wouldn't be surprised if other people have gone through this, whether on or off of psychedelics, and have interpreted as alien abductions. I've seen a few trip reports where people have said, these are aliens performing the surgery. But what's really interesting is I'm seeing a lot of people interpret these entities as surgeons or doctors. And that's definitely the sense I got from these entities eventually once I became a little bit more familiar with this place. And it's actually some sort of intuition, I think, that's guiding you to this conclusion. Because I can't think of any other reason. They don't speak to you directly, or at least to me, they didn't directly speak and say, yeah, we're DMT doctors about to perform a surgery. What the entities actually look like, in my experience and in many other trip reports I've read, they are white, faceless entities. I said before that the room is made out of white light. That's kind of what these entities are made out of as well. And it's actually worth mentioning at this point that I've seen a few different trip reports. When I read this, I was like, my God, it's crazy how specific the details are. That are being shared between different people, because I saw a few people describe a bright white light that sits above them while the operation is taking place, just kind of like in an operation in real life where they have the light above you to help the doctor see what's going on. I had that as well. It's all made out of the same energy. The entities, the room, the table, and this light above you, it's almost sentient energy. Very hard to describe how it feels. It feels like inside it is some kind of consciousness that's beyond awareness or something like that. I don't know how to explain it, very challenging, but it's not just normal light, I'll say that. As for the operation itself, this is super hard to describe because there's no sensation that you would have felt in your normal reality and sober reality that you can compare it to. And what I find really interesting is I would think because of that, everybody would explain it in unique and different ways. But when I was looking at all the different trip reports, everybody was just describing it exactly how I described it myself. Basically, it feels like these surgeons are like poking around at the back of your mind and making adjustments on your mind itself. And what's weird about that is it's a physical sensation. It's like they're actually touching, something that you've never felt touched before. That sounds kind of weird. They're moving, somehow physically moving different sections in your brain or in your mind itself that's stored at the back of your head. And they're just sifting through it and making micro adjustments. I have a very faint memory of actually seeing their hands gathered around like a bundle of tension in my mind, and they were releasing these points of tension. As for what the operation is and why they're operating on us. I don't want to break it down too much in this video. I might save that for, the other video, but very briefly, I think it's some kind of upgrade or some kind of healing that is taking place. I'm not making this video to say that there's literally a physical operating room that we can't perceive when we're sober, where independently intelligent and conscious entities are waiting for us to arrive to actually physically perform some kind of operation. I'm not saying it's real in that sense. If all this sounds crazy, I know it sounds crazy. I'm just telling you what happens when you have a high dose of DMT or a very high dose of some other psychedelic. But that is what seems to be the purpose of the operation anyway. It does seem to be that they are healing you or upgrading you. And when I say people are being permanently altered, I mean for the better. I've seen a couple of trip reports where people have actually said that directly after having this encounter in the DMT operating room, their life changes and they see, where the destructive patterns in their life lay, and they are able to rework them and totally overwrite them with healthier patterns of behavior. And psychedelics do generally do that. Psychedelics do show you your unhealthy patterns, but being shown those unhealthy patterns and having the ability to work on that and improve, your behavior is a whole different thing. So I find it really interesting that people are visiting the operating room, being shown, their unhealthy patterns, but then also coming out of it with the ability to immediately rectify kind of what's wrong. But that's only if you actually allow this experience to happen. Because I've seen a lot of people say that they are extremely disturbed by what they are seeing. I've seen people say they totally resist it just out of fear and nothing happens. They just try and, get the hell out of there because they're afraid of what's going on. Now, when you go here, it feels hyper real, which is, it feels realer than real, basically. And what I mean by that is, a good comparison to make is like the show Westworld. So in the TV show Westworld, people of the future basically make these androids and put them in a false narrative, which is Westworld itself, like this weird theme park set in the Wild West. And the androids believe that that's reality. They believe that they are real humans and, the identity they've been assigned, they assume that's who they genuinely are. But then they get taken out of that false narrative, or Westworld, and then get operated on or upgraded and altered by the people of the future. But that's basically what it feels like. It feels like you're taken out of a false narrative, which is the life you know when you're sober, and then entities from the real reality begin operating on you, making adjustments or upgrading you, and then they put you back into the false narrative. And all you're left with is this very faint memory of what took place. Again, I just want to say, I'm just sharing how it feels like. That's all this video is. But that is the closest comparison I can make in terms of what this experience feels like, or at least for me, that's what it felt like. If you've gone through this, or even if you haven't, but you have a theory on why we're experiencing the DMT operating room and getting operated on, definitely share it with me. I've got my theories, but I'm very open to having my opinion changed. And if you just say something quite interesting, I'll probably share it on that video where I break it all down and just use that as an example to kind of talk about what's going on. And I did want to do a big shout out to all my patrons. It just means so much to me that you support this channel in the way that you do, especially because I am demonetized. So yeah, guys, big special shout out to you. But otherwise, I hope you're all having a freaking awesome day. If not, make it an awesome day. And I will see you all very, very shortly. Peace.